Hello, everyone. My name is Russell Wright. I'm co-founder of ThemeZoom and NetworkEmpire.com, home of the Perpetual Profit Machine, the Kraken, the Last Keyword Tool, Painfinder, and many other amazing applications, enterprise-level applications, created by myself and Sue Bell, who is with us today. And I want to introduce a little bit because this is our weekly announcement for Network Empire. We have a lot of programming announcements, a lot of very cool things that mean really cool toys and a lot more money for you, and great ways to impress clients, customers. First of all, let me introduce my business partner, Sue Bell. Now, Sue retired in her 30s from a career designing software for the US military. She came back out of retirement in order to mastermind the programming behind our powerful market domination tools, which there's so many, it's too much to mention here how amazing this stuff is. She's the founder and CEO of ThemeZoom LLC. As the co-creator and mastermind behind ThemeZoom's Kraken tool, which Sue and I invented, a search engine marketing tool, and the Last Keyword tool, she also played a huge role in the creation of DWS, which is now called Network Empire Builder, which our whole team is busily working on and integrating into a new user interface at the moment. Her expertise with system design and database allowed her to back engineer popular search engines and discover methods for search marketing analysis and competitive analysis that turned SEO and search engine rankings into a science. Sue, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, thank you very much, Russell, for having me.
Okay, now while you're here, we're going to get into some kind of technical, we're going to demystify some of the high-end gibberish out there about co-occurrence, LSI, and so on and so forth.
Excellent.
Because we have a huge influx of new customers from all walks of life, even regular business owners who are suddenly realizing, hey, they can use our tools, like they get it. And that's kind of exciting. But the first announcement that you sent over to me this morning, Sue, was that we have some Painfinder updates, and I've got Painfinder on the screen here. This is a tool that many of you may not even know exists yet because Sue and I have kept it kind of quiet over the last, I'd say probably the last 6 months. Now, we did do kind of a soft launch, right, Sue?
Yeah.
What was that, about 3 months ago or something like that? Something like that. And it's part of, yeah, it's part of the, what is it, 197 per month package, Network Empires Club.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the middle tier. So you can still get this version as a member, if you're an advanced member. But we've made a new change, and you just want to announce that, Sue?
Sure. Yes, we've included the export function, which has been asked for quite a bit since we first put this out there.
Let me get over to that area. Go ahead. Continue.
Okay, so that now once you have your list of questions, you can actually export it so that you can do things with it, right? So one of the things that people want to be able to do is show it to their clients or just to have it on file so that they, as they're writing their content, they can refer to it.
Yep. That's kind of exciting, isn't it?
It's very exciting.
Now, here's what Sue was just talking about. See the export word right here in the upper right-hand corner? By popular demand, you can now click this and it'll download it into a CSV file. And in fact, I'll just do that for you right now so you guys can see it. Just click export. And you'll see right here in the lower left-hand corner, just like any other kind of download function, it's going to export it as that report and give you the report number that's associated with the report in the URL at this time. Okay. Now, for those of you who don't know what Painfinder is, it's part of our larger system called the Perpetual Lead Magnet Machine, and Sue and my own invention, which we call the ISDNA or Industry Solution. And that's part of your whole perpetual business machine and building an empire. Before we can build out a large network of sites and or the socially activated one web ring perpetual downstream traffic system, we need to know what you're selling and what your client's selling, what their invention in the marketplace, and what pains that invention answers. We carefully go through this at a level, at an industrial level, when you come to live certification events, and Painfinder is one of the things that we use. Hey, Sue, let's talk a little bit about, can we talk about sneak peek about the painkiller version coming?
Sure.
Okay, go ahead. Let's talk about what we're going to be adding to this.
Well, I want to back up for just a second because you gave it such an impressive sounding description that I want to say that I've had so many help desk requests this week that have talked about, do I have the right keywords and how do I know when I have the right keywords, and I'm having problems building up my silo structures. And the whole ISDNA, the industry solution aspect of the PLMM system, was designed to help you understand what the right keywords are. So one of the things that Painfinder does by helping you find the pains is to know what it is, how it is you want to position your product in the market. The other aspect of the ISDNA is getting you to actually write down what your products are and look at the competition. And the interesting thing, once you have all of that information, is that then the keywords just kind of leap off the page for you.
Yep, isn't that amazing? And
So that
go ahead. I'm sorry, I just got excited.
I was going to move to the next topic, so go ahead.
Oh no, I'm not ready yet. Um, the main thing that I tell students is remember keywords are very, very important. Of course, this natural latent semantic indexing and co-occurrence, which Sue is going to get into next, is all very, very important. But it's also important to remember that keywords are a part of questions. And questions usually imply pain and willing buyers.
Exactly.
And here's on the screen that, I don't know if you can see my screen, Sue, but we're on the Pain Finder still.
Okay.
For example, here's an account that we did, create a lot of keyword research with Kraken, TLKT, and our other tools. But you can see that the root keyword is card magic. It was card tricks. And so the Pain Finder brings back, you can see that magic tricks and card tricks are a part of this drill. But what's important in the Pain Finder is what are the whole sentences, okay,
Right.
that are being asked. So remember, keywords are always a part of a sentence, well, oftentimes a part of a sentence. And those sentences, when they're in the form of questions, lead to sales directly. So this is why we put you through a proprietary process. And since Sue mentioned that, I'm going to drag one of our favorite charts over, Sue, which is the pyramid, stackable pyramid model,
Okay.
the perpetual lead magnet machine basic version. And not to digress too much, but you can see down here at the bottom, the ISDNA is step one, right? That's even before you go to create your KDNA or your keywords, essentially. Okay, so before you really get into Kraken and TLKT, it's good to at least have your SAQs and your FAQs because the web is really for humans. Here's our little diagram of, help me, I have a problem. What's my money keyword? Perpetual painkiller code. So that's really, you got to start there. And that makes our system very, very unique than just someone selling you a bunch of keyword tools, which are really awesome. And you can get a long way with those. But starting with your questions is what Pain Finder is about.
So let me just couch this a little bit because now that you've got your problems and that leads you directly to your keywords, this is going to take you full cycle when it comes to creating your content and doing the promotions for your content, right? So you've got the same problems that started you. You're now able to take those ideas and embed them into your content, and then you go back to those questions and you say, hey, over here on this blog, I have the answer to this question. You can give it a synopsis, right?
Yep.
You can curate your article a little bit right there in Quora, and then you give a link back to your blog. And so you're going to drive this highly targeted traffic who's interested in following this question. They're going to get an alert in their email that says, hey, there was an update to this question. And the answer's right there. They can follow it right smack from their email back to your blog.
Yep, and exactly, Sue, because the traffic we get, time on site engagement is huge from Quora.
Absolutely.
The quality of traffic and the buyer's intent is huge.
So what we decided that you needed to be able to do in order to really get the most out of that function is you need to be able to track the questions. So you need to be able to put a check mark in the questions that you want to come back and answer in the end. And then you're going to want to be able to actually go and say, hey, I answered this question. So that gives you a whole little chart in that drill where you can follow along and say, okay, I've completed this. And like over the course of time, we're going to increase it from 100 questions, which is the maximum right now, to unlimited questions.
Yeah.
So over the course of time, you'll be able to take a look at that drill, and you'll probably have months worth of content and links provided for you within that one single drill.
That's right. And it's not even the only... It's also incredible because it's not just about getting traffic from Quora. It's also about having a list for your client and yourself. Because these, as we saw in the pyramid, these questions forever penetrate your web rings and your blog and your post. You will never not have something to talk about. And I can't tell you how many times Sue and I have seen students really not talking about anything that's relevant or congruent with what they're selling. So this will help you stay very focused but very viral, and I'm really excited about that.
Yep.
And those of you who are not a member of networkempire.com, where you have access to this training that includes things like the process map I just showed you, I do recommend that you sign up at networkempire.com. If you want Painfinder included, please purchase the advanced package. Otherwise, we are about to launch Painfinder as standalone, and that's going to be at painfindertraffic.com. And we'll let you know when the upgraded version comes. It's about 30 to 60 days out, so we're very excited about that. All right, let's see what else is on lists. Sue's list of goodies to be talked about. Okay, looks like we have. Let's talk about the Silo plugin, Sue.
Woohoo!
Because what I have up now is the new sample Silo plugin site from
Okay.
sample.thewebuntangled.com, and
Excellent.
I have a list of changes. If you don't have your list of changes,
I don't have my list of changes handy.
okay, that's no problem.
But
So, what changes do you specifically want to talk about in this new release coming here in just a few hours
well, the
or days?
two really flashy ones
Hmm.
are the thumbnails.
I know, right?
So yeah.
Okay.
So there's two places where you can have the thumbnails
Hmm.
in either the big shortcode area in the middle of the page,
Which puts it down
or
here at the bottom of the site where I'm at now.
exactly. And on the home page, you'll notice, at least in this particular theme, the images are quite large. I think that's going to vary from theme to theme.
Yep.
And then as you move in toward the deeper pages, that goes back to the normal thumbnail size, which is like 150 by 150. It's the same size as what you see over there on the side of the widget.
Okay.
So your sidebar widget is always going to be that same
Let me
size.
show them the sidebar widget here. Okay, that's up here on the upper right-hand corner, and hopefully you can see it right here, just pointing to it. Okay, gotcha. So that's a
And
major change. Now, is that something you can turn on or off, or is that permanently
it
apart?
is. No, it's optional
Nice.
in both places. And you can set that option by default for the shortcode before you do the import,
Hmm.
so that then when you suck it all in, it's set up exactly how you want it.
And Sue and I can vouch for the higher click-through rate, the higher attractiveness of the site, and just general all-around goodness of
Absolutely.
adding your thumbs.
Yep.
Not to mention Open Graph and social media downstream in our socially activated web ring system.
Yep.
Okay, excellent. Anything else you want to talk about with this plugin, or is that pretty much it for now? Well, we
Well,
should tell them where they can get it.
yeah, absolutely. The other change that we made, due to the fact that we had some people that were trying to import such tremendously large websites whose names shall remain
Yeah, we
nameless.
won't mention Greg Morrison or anybody else like that.
No.
Okay.
we created it so that it would actually do all of the uploading in the background. So now, like, think about this for a minute. In the free version, right, all it's doing is creating a bunch of pages. So when you do your import and you've got, like, I don't know, 200, 300, 500 pages, it goes really pretty fast.
Yes.
Like the screen repaints before you can think about it.
Right.
But if you've got 30 silos that you're trying to import, it's got to go out and find a video for each one of those pages on each one of those silos, right? And then it's going to collect the thumbnail for each one of those and post all of that and figure it all out. And that just takes time. So you don't have to wait for it anymore. You just tell it to import, and then you can go back and just watch this site build out magically in front of you. Like, it's really very cool.
It's very, very powerful. And we've made some minor changes so it doesn't say added, it'll say adding. So when you guys first click a very large import from either Domain Web Studio or any builder, or from Kraken, anything really, really large, it'll be populating over the next couple minutes. You can go away from that screen, you can do other things. So I don't want to get too much into that now because it's all in our help file. And we've got plenty of help files and stuff. If you have any questions, visit our blog and you'll see where I've got the help file on the sidebar now, or you can just ask us at our Skype group. If you want to be asked to our Skype group, just contact us at ThemeZoom on Skype. Okay, just so you know where you can get this, okay, you can get this at the paid version is the Video Silo plugin version that Sue was just talking about where we're updating it. It hasn't been released as of 9/10/2013. Today's the 10th.
Yeah. It should go out tomorrow or the day after.
Yeah, it'll be out in a couple days, and this is such a huge upgrade, guy. I almost consider it a different plugin. It's so much more powerful. Also, one thing we forgot to mention is you can add posts now to the bottom layer of a silo using the regular WYSIWYG editor, and so you can just add it to the post in a widget, and you can just start stacking those posts under any silo you want. Very, very cool stuff.
Yep.
By the
So
way, go ahead.
if you have guys that write for your blog, you don't have to jump through a hoop before you can add those posts. Your writers can
Correct.
go ahead and do that.
Yeah, which is really, really nice. And I wish we had time to get in today how any builder and any builder pro um, is so much more advanced when it comes to content, but we'll have to just zip it up until our next discussion. Okay, so also, if you go to siloblogbuilder.com, you can download this for free. Those of you just being introduced to our material for the first time, welcome. We have a gift for you. Please go to siloblogbuilder.com. Now it's a forward, so this is the actual URL you'll be redirected to. And you can just go to the middle of the page and it says download Silo Builder 1.3. Probably if you're watching this a couple days later, it'll say 1.5 or 6. Okay, just click on this image, and or it might even just say download the Silo Builder plugin. Just click on this and it's going to be the most up-to-date version. Okay, and we hope this helps you a lot. There is a manual import that you can use that people are just loving. Okay, so let's move on to the next topic, Sue. Let's move into the more brainiac questions that we've got coming in. You've got a great video, which I'm releasing with this week's newsletter, and that video talks about co-occurrence. And I'm really glad you made it. Thanks, because there's a lot of people coming in buying the automated, what we call the Automagic Kraken blueprints,
right?
From OMG Group and a few of our other communities. And it's really sparked a major conversation in all the groups about co-occurrence. And we probably were one of the top 2 or 3 people ever talking about co-occurrence in 2007, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were right there with that. So can you just give us an overview of co-occurrence and why we put co-occurrence as a feature in Kraken, also called market share, and what that does for people on the ground? Like, if possible, what does that do for the ordinary person, the fact that they can use co-occurrence to build their websites with our tools?
Sure. So the idea behind co-occurrence is that you have keywords that co-occur. That means both keywords appear on a single page. So let's say you've got 100 pages where the word bicycle parts appears, and out of that 100 pages, you've got 50 of those pages where bicycle seats appears. So you've got a 50% co-occurrence of bicycle seats to bicycle parts. And the reason that that's important is when you're building out your site is because you can see which keywords have a large market share to the parent term that you're looking at. So in other words, if your parent term is bicycle parts, you can say, hey, bicycle seats is a pretty important keyword when it comes to bicycle parts, because for every 2 times that bicycle parts is mentioned, one of those times includes bicycle seats. And you might have another term like bicycle gears that only appears on 2 pages with bicycle parts. And you say, well, that's not nearly as important a term. I mean, it's not saying anything bad about bicycle gears. It might still have a really high cost per click, and it might have a fair number of searches. But if your site is about bicycle parts, you can look at that and say, it's just not that relevant. It's not that important. It doesn't have that big of a market share of that particular term. So the reason that this becomes important, I mean, we've always talked about synonyms, and the more ways that you can express your ideas, the more diverse the languages that you can use, the different kinds of keywords that you can use to express your ideas, the more you're going to win, because some people look for a thumb drive, using the word thumb drive, and somebody else might say USB drive, and somebody else might call it a RAM drive, right? So the more ways that you actually express the concept, the more you're going to rank for all those different terms, and the more traffic you will ultimately have. But with the latest changes that Google is coming out with, they're actually comparing different keywords. So when you type in your search term for RAM drive, it actually looks up to see who's ranking for the synonyms of RAM drive. And the people who are ranking for the synonyms get promoted on the page that ultimately gets displayed to the person doing the searches.
Okay. So let me just pause you for a second. We're on a page on themezoom.com called Co-Occurrence.
Okay.
And there's a Venn diagram.
Right.
There's keyword document 1, there's keyword document 2. Is it fair for me to say to this huge influx of laymen that's just come into our company who are not technical minded at all, and then I'm going to have you talk about the new patent. I mean, the Google finally, stabilized and locked that patent in on co-occurrence. Is it fair to say that if I have a major keyword and that keyword, and there's another keyword that's being talked about, that keyword on the same documents on the web, the same web pages and the rest, like 90% of the time, that's a keyword, if it's being used more or less and it has money associated with it, that's a co-occurring keyword that's going to help my website?
Yes.
So that's
So
the simple
that's
answer. Okay.
yeah, that's the simple answer. I
Good.
mean
That's the answer
the
we need right now.
okay.
Okay, that's
I mean
good.
you also want to consider whether or not it's actually pertinent to what it is that you're talking about. I wouldn't put keywords on your site that don't like if your site is about bicycle gears and you want to incorporate bicycle parts because it shows up a lot.
Well, obviously, and not obviously, but in the sense that we call that tangent markets. Like in Kraken, it's really good. We want everybody to know if something is highly co-occurrent, even if you're not selling it,
Right.
simply because it's something you need to be aware of in your industry. I mean, if you've got 3 things that you're not selling that are useless for your site, and they're on 90% of your documents, which is very, very high, they probably wouldn't be, then you need to know about it. And if you're not selling it, then you at least need to know that the market is influenced by those ideas.
Exactly.
But it doesn't mean you build and that's a great answer. So it doesn't mean you build the website about it, but you might create what you and I used to call a tangent market list,
Right.
whereby you start asking, it's kind of like putting these over in a different basket and going, maybe I should come back and look at those for my whole business model later on.
Exactly.
And sometimes if you're in a huge industry where you've got thousands of items in a shopping cart or something like that, you don't really you just might never sell bicycle gears. You might be a bicycle tire company, and that's fine.
Exactly.
But that's a different. Okay, so tell me more about. You've been really carrying on a lot the last couple of days about this patent with Google. Go ahead and rant about that. Tell me what is really on your mind. What's the state of the union, so to speak, about what's the real state of the union about
Well,
co-occurrence and all these changes, and how does co-occurrence affect backlinking in this new algorithm, and why does everybody think the sky is falling right now in SEO in terms of backlinking, and set everybody straight on all of that stuff.
all of it? My goodness gracious.
Yeah.
All right. So let's start off with Google and their algorithms for a moment. Google changes their algorithms about once every 48 hours, and most of those changes are very minor, and most people don't feel those changes. Um, every twice in a while, they come out with really big changes. Typically, about once a month, they come out with a fairly substantial change. And also, about once a month, usually just after they implement those changes, they send around their big bots. So they have big bots and they have little bots. And the little bots are constantly going around and looking at looking for new pages and looking for new inbound links, and they report back. And the little changes and the little bots can sometimes make an interesting difference. And by interesting, I mean, they impact me directly. Um, but most of the time, most people don't feel that, other than they see that their pages got indexed, that kind of thing. So then once a month, they make a fairly substantial change, and they've talked about integrating some of the Panda changes into their monthly updates now. And so those have gotten to be a little bit more intense than they used to be. The good thing about having Panda, gosh, I hope I got the right black and white animal in there. I'm pretty sure it's Panda. The good thing about having Panda integrated with the monthly updates is if you get penalized by Panda, you can only get unpenalized by another Panda. And so when it was 6 months, 4 to 6 months between Panda runs, guys were sat out in the cold until the next Panda update came around, even so they fixed whatever the issue was with their site. So I think it's really great that they run every month, but it causes a little bit of a little bit of havoc every time it runs. People feel that wave because it's a bigger wave than it used to be. So the bigger bots also do a lot more calculations than the little bots do. I don't. They go out, they dig a little bit deeper, they find more information, and mostly they do a whole lot more calculations. So they take all of the information that both the big bots and the little bots have brought back, and they start recalculating page rank, and they start recalculating trust values, and all of these things. And that's usually when people go, oh my goodness gracious, my whole site just shifted. And
Exactly.
so it varies. Like it used to be predictable that you could say, okay, between the 28th of the month and the 10th of the month, you're going to feel that shift. But the calculations get progressively more intense and they have progressively more servers that they have to update. So actually, you used to be able to say it was within 7 days, and now it's more like within 2 weeks. So we've pretty much got 50% of the month where you can experience some pretty decent fluctuations. And it depends on what data center you're hitting, and it depends on what aspect of the bot's gone through what aspect of its calculations. So you see this, as I said, it runs from about the 27th until about the 10th. You see this pretty good roller coaster ride. And some months I see it more than I do others. And I just, my clients sometimes, because I got one client in particular who's just lives and dies by his rankings. Literally, his business is what it is by his rankings. And so he's always poised on the edge of his seat. He's like,
Yeah.
hey, we lost our #1 ranking. We're down to #2 now. I'm like, yeah, just chill. We'll be
Yeah,
back.
exactly. Okay, so
So,
let me just round this up a little bit because I want you to keep talking, but I just want to I want to ask you.
oh, yeah, I was off on bots. I'm sorry.
That's okay. No, I want to have a whole section on bots and this discussion of it. But I want to really keep it focused on co-occurrence. I want to ask you. There's a lot of stuff coming out right now from SEO by the Sea, an old friend of ours talking about LSI way back in the day when we were
Right.
launching themes. And even Rand from Moz put his new article prediction anchor text is weakening and may be replaced by co-occurrence. So can we talk a little bit about this uh, recent invention by Shahrar Jain from Google and this new Google patent, document ranking using word relationship?
Yeah.
Because you were ranting about this the other day.
Yeah.
What is it? Why were you ranting about it? What does that mean to you? And how is it? Why is it exciting for you?
Well, the reason it's exciting for me is that it gets rid of these sites that are one key wonders. Like it really just nails the coffin shut as though it weren't nailed
Say that
already.
again. Say that again. I think that's huge.
These one keyword site wonders, these people who, I don't know that there are any of them left after the last Panda update, but there were uh, up to 18 months ago, there were people who were all over this idea of buying an exact match domain, and every single page on it was after this one keyword. The entire point of the site was after a single keyword.
Right,
All
right.
the inbound links, everything. So then this overly optimized SEO thing came out, right? And so then they started diversifying their link from whatever their one keyword was to click here. Don't get me started. Okay, so so
Yeah,
the
totally.
idea behind this is like what Google finds. Let me back all the way up.
Mhm.
Let's look at what Google actually wants to do. Google wants to give you what it is that you're searching for, because if they don't give you what you're searching for, you're going to go over to DuckDuckGo, right? You're going to go find another
To
search
who?
engine. Exactly.
No one's ever heard of that. So, just so you know, you're the only one who knows about that search engine.
It's a very geeky search engine at this point, but it
And
will
guys,
take
just
time.
quick insert, guys. The reason she likes DuckDuckGo is because it's a secure search engine where they can't track anything, and it's really like NSA. It's for people who like their privacy and their IP privacy.
Yeah,
Okay, go ahead, Sue.
yeah, it's definitely. I mean, yeah. So, um,
And back to me.
and back to Google. So Google needs to serve up stuff that you want, the things that you're looking for. And so when you click into a site and you click right back out of it to Google's search results, they go, they didn't like that, and they make a note. And there's just so many things in their new patents about how to demote sites that it's crazy, but that's for another webinar. I'll stick right now to this one about co-occurrence, which is deciding what actually gets displayed to a searcher depending on rankings across multiple keywords. Okay, so one of the things that they've decided, at least like this is my interpretation of the patent, okay?
Hmm.
If a site is ranked for more than one synonym or more than one very similar keyword, I don't even want to call it a synonym, but they run down how they define synonym, and then they look to see if in their ranking algorithms they've ranked a particular page on more than one synonym as they've defined it. And if they find it ranked for more than one synonym, then they're like, hey, wow, this page is really about this topic,
Right.
right? So it's more important than the pages that are only ranked for one of the synonyms. So they will promote that page in the listing. It'll go further up to the top, and other items that are only ranked for one of the synonyms will fall further down.
Got it. Okay. I was actually trying to find the actual quote that you sent me the other night about that, but it seems to be obfuscated by our hundreds of help desk requests. But it was really good. I'm going to put it in the article, the quote that you gave me that you were all excited
I,
about.
it's probably in the video. Like I went into
Oh,
all of
yes, you
this in
did.
great depth in the video, what
Good.
co-occurrence is and what the patents cover.
Okay, good. So let's kind of stop it at there. We've been on a half an hour, so we need to wrap this up.
Okay.
Okay, you guys. So, Sue, I was going to ask you the difference between co-occurrence and LSI, but we're actually going to wait because I
Okay.
think people's brains will explode.
I
Um,
suspect so.
yeah, and that's okay because we use all of it. I've got Kraken open. Now that we've talked about it in terms of theoretical abstract and, way up in the clouds,
Right.
I've got Kraken open and I'm looking at I don't have a lot of stuff. These are all test things, but if I go into something like gold, not that I'm doing that for any reason, and then I go
Mm-hmm.
into gold coins and I click on gold coins. I'm trying to give people a practical,
Right.
okay? If you look at gold coins, like for example, gold, let's say the word coins obviously has a 100% co-occurrence with gold coins because the word coins is in gold coins. So of course it's going to be 100% on every document gold coins is in, right?
Yep.
But we have advantages where we could take, let me just find another example. But if you could take like something like gold bullion, and hopefully I drilled into that. Gosh darn it, I didn't drill into these. What's the matter with me? Trying to find something that's got a lot of keywords in it. Let me see here. Trying to give them a really good example. Otherwise, I'll go into the. Yes, so like here's a good example. Let me pause for a second while I pull up a good example. Okay, we shifted away from gold because I hadn't drilled out gold all the way. So we've gone to bug out bags, our infamous Armageddon niche. So what we've got is bug out bags. And if you take something like, if you go bags are like miniature bug out bags and stuff. And the co-occurrence with bug out bags, I like that one because it's only got the word bags in it, doesn't have bug out.
Right.
Go bags has a co-occurrence of 1.92% of bug out bags. And would you say that's a significant co-occurrence? There's also gear bags. It's like 5.62% with bug out bags. And then we have outdoor activities that's 6.51% co-occurrence with bug out bags. So how do you gauge what is in Kraken, what is useful or not useful co-occurrence, assuming that all of these are part of our product array?
Um. Well, anything like you can get down to some very, very minute co-occurrences, and the other interesting thing about co-occurrence is it depends on the numbers of competing pages. So, for example, if Go Bags is a much smaller niche
Mm-hmm.
than Bug Out Bags, it
It's
could
actually
be,
larger,
oh, fascinating,
mm-hmm.
and only 5% co-occurrence,
1.92%.
1.92.
Mm-hmm. So it's almost a whole different silo in some
That's
ways.
that's like yeah, that's
Mm-hmm.
I would actually put that as a different. That's exactly what it would tell me.
Mm-hmm.
Different silo.
Okay. So and really what I'm addressing here is that I have a lot of questions from people like, well, oh my gosh, I drilled into this and there's a whole bunch of terms that have a really high co-occurrence. And some of them are 7% and some of them are 1%. And what I'm really trying to address here, guys, is that higher co-occurrence is better, especially if it's a separate term that's not nested in that term, because then you know it's an altogether different idea. And when those or a product or service, and when those co-occurrences are slightly different, related but slightly different, then you want to either add a new silo landing page or definitely step back and say, wow, this is an idea that's part of my business because Google is noticing that it's co-occurring. And this is the only tool on the marketplace that uses co-occurrence at this time. That's why I'm really hot and heavy on this, Sue,
Right.
because while you're busy programming and doing all this stuff, I have all these messages coming back going, holy crap, I get co-occurrence in Kraken. And it's working
Right.
for my backlinks. It's
Yep.
working my backlinks anchor text. It's
So
working for my sites.
So I do want to say that there's two different ways of looking at the concept of co-occurrence, right?
Uh-huh.
And the one that we have there on the page where we actually call co-occurrence, this is a methodology by which we're comparing competing pages. We actually tell Google, you tell me what you see on these pages, right?
Right.
And the other one we calculate and we don't even bother to show you because we don't include anything that's not thematically relevant,
Right.
but we use hardcore LSI calculations for that. And those calculations, we go out and we actually scrape all the data off of the top 100 pages in Google and the top 100 pages in Yahoo to create the context, the body of content that we use to decide how relevant a keyword is.
Mm-hmm.
And and so the thematic relevance is there. And even if the market share, there's a lot of reasons why the market share might be low, the co-occurrence might be low, and it would still be perfectly valid to put on that page or put in that silo.
Yep.
But when you see a low co-occurrence, it's just exactly what you said. You just want to step back and think about it for a second and go, wow, maybe I do want to actually make that a separate silo. Maybe the co-occurrence, the lack of Google saying that there's a significant intersection there, it's thematically related, but if there's not a good intersection, then maybe I do want to actually separate these out on different pages.
Gotcha. Okay, excellent. I think that's enough for today on co-occurrence.
Okay.
We're going to be talking about it lots and lots more, guys, gals. So thanks for that, Sue. One last question before you go. We have a case study from a longtime user, actually a couple of long-term students now, professional SEOs, that have a site that's ranking for a particular keyword that is not siloed, but they
Right.
use backlinking structures based on our methods using
Right.
co-occurrence, pure diverse, partial diverse, authority links nested with not as strong authority links, and they're ranking as a page rank 0 for a very competitive term above pages that are authority sites that have page rank 7 and 6. I've confirmed
Yep.
this myself.
Yep.
Explain to me how you see stuff like that working.
How the heck that works?
Hmm.
Um, well, PageRank, the definition of PageRank has changed significantly over the course of the last year.
Yes.
And I believe I heard somebody else refer to it as a thematically related PageRank,
Yep.
but that is exactly what I have seen it to be. So, in other words, an inbound link is not just an inbound link, obviously, right? It's got to
Hmm.
have thematic relevance. So, let's
Yep.
say that on this page, let's say you've got a Wikipedia page. They're an authority site, and because they're usually ranked for multiple keywords, and because a lot of people click on them, they tend to get promoted to the top, one of the top 3 positions in most search engine results where it's appropriate, right? So,
Right.
so let's say that you've got a Wikipedia entry that's about what were we just talking about? Gold bullion. It's
Hmm.
about gold bullion, but it mentions a couple of times on this gold bullion page, it happens to mention bicycle parts.
Hmm.
Clearly, the page isn't about bicycle parts, but because it's Wikipedia and it's mentioned, it does mention bicycle parts, and
Hmm.
maybe there's not another page about bicycle parts that's more relevant than this gold bullion page, it's going to stick the Wikipedia page right up there toward the top. But clearly, because it's not thematically related, like it's not like I picked something incredibly tangent, and it really shouldn't be that tangent. It's just extreme to make this example
Hmm.
obvious. So their inbound links aren't going to be about bicycle parts. Their inbound links are going to be about gold stuff, right?
Right.
So their page rank 6, page rank 7 page, and it's right up there at the top. And you come along with a well siloed site. You got 10 pages. They're all about bicycle parts. They're themed really well. All of your inbound links are about different kinds of keywords about bicycle parts. And your authority on bicycle parts to Google just becomes really obvious. You're ranked for multiple bicycle part type terms. And so it knocks Google's page off of the top.
Yep. Absolutely. And this page that I have open now, guys, is theme mirroring. This is again theme zoom. You can see it's a crazy URL, but you can go to themezoomglossary.com. And what Sue's talking about here is essentially theme mirroring. Right, Sue?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. So we'll get more into this. This is all part of the stuff that we do, which is why hopefully you're beginning to see that we probably have the most integrated system, thought system, and tools probably out there. SEO is actually not really a shifting environment in the way that a lot of the marketing out there would have you believe.
No,
Okay.
not at
And
all.
this is the main thing that Sue and I are going to be positioning very, very strongly over the next 2 years, because as things get more, as things require more integration and more complexity in order to be simple, the marketers out there are going to be trying to convince you that jumping to each thing every day, that the sky is falling every day. I mean, Sue and I have watched about umpteen 90 million different letters go out there by marketers that saying the SEO sky is falling. And significantly few things have changed when it comes to the mainframe. Okay, now there's been stuff that's been stacked on top of these systems, which is why we have, the socially activated aspect. Social is new. There is new authority. There is a new verified CIA level verified name campaign going on at Google. There is all this stuff, okay? But the essential systems remain the same. PageRank and Co-Occurrence we've been seeing things like PageRank zero sites outranking larger sites than 2008. I had two case studies where LSI keywords were causing something to rank that wasn't even the keyword that they were targeting,
Right.
and these types of things. So this is a part of our system. And so we invite you to join us. And you can visit,
Absolutely.
you can learn more about what it is that we do at networkempire.com. And do come to the homepage and download the free report that Sue put together that shows how all of our products are connected, and it's a lot of fun. And then download our free plugin and start playing around with. In some ways, this free plugin is concerning to me because, it used to be the hardest thing on earth to create a silo structure website. It used to be painful for one and all. When Bruce Clay taught this to me and Sue in 2005 or six, you could spend a week just organizing the outline of a silo structure. Now you guys have it in a simple plugin. Just understand some basic rules and apply your backlinking skills that we just touched upon right there, and you're going to be blowing most of the firms out there away based on this knowledge. So we really do look forward to seeing you on the inside, and we hope to see you as a member. My name is Russell Wright, and this has been my business partner Sue Bell giving the whole state of things on the web when it comes to the recent Google changes, Co-Occurrence, LSI, and we really look forward to seeing you at our next live webinar, which is coming up on the 18th, I think, isn't it, Sue?
Yes, it is.
Okay, and we are going to go ahead right underneath this video, and on the description on YouTube, we're going to give you a link so you can sign up for our ongoing webinars. And people have said, and I quote, these webinars are the equivalent of a Harvard business education. And we've got all kinds of testimonials for those, so we look forward to having you bring your own case studies, bring your own questions, and as part of the members webinars, and also getting a demo on how Network Empire Builder, the Silo plugin, and Kraken and TLKT all work together to help you build your own your own traffic system. I'm going to leave the word automatic out of there. Okay. All right, everyone. Russell Wright and Sue Bell signing off. We went almost